You like, I'll have the other one.
I think that contrasts nicely with your jacket.
There you go.
This is an absolute pleasure. Not that it isn't a pleasure for having any guest on, but you haven't been on here before.
Have a not, flip me.
I've
Sorry
asked
about
you a
that.
few times, and you've sort of like skedaddled
How about
out of the
sometimes-
room.
Do you know what happens? See when I'm if it's
You knew
after
this
a
was going to
fight-
happen. If you know me,
I
I was
know,
going to
but
do
look,
this.
if it's after a fight, I always try to get away early because I'm always getting
Hammered.
about 4 hours sleep, and then I'm up on the earliest flight to get home.
Fair
the next
enough.
day. So I always want to get to bed. And then sometimes if you stop for one, you have to do 10.
I understand.
Yeah.
And I know what we're like. And sometimes I guess you can get fed up of answering the same questions over and over again.
You're going to ask me different stuff.
I might do.
Hope so.
I think you've been in boxing long enough to know if somebody's going to ask you the same stuff or not. But the first question I want to ask you, and thank you for your services to boxing, but why didn't you walk away fully, just live the happy life with your family and just sit on the TV and watch the fights? Why did you not let go of the sport?
Because I still love the sport, and I feel like I know a fair bit about it. And if I enjoy being at the big fights, like I wouldn't have the opportunity to come to all these fights unless I was working on them. And so someone's paying me to watch big fights and talk about them for 5 minutes.
Is it about the money though?
No, it's not all about the money. I've done quite well. I'm comfortable enough, but money's nice too, isn't it? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I'm not in your position. I do this because it's genuine love.
Yeah.
But to see a fighter, and I've watched your fights, very, very good fighter, and to see you come out with your faculties still there,
Yeah.
putting the full sentences together, because not everyone does that.
Yeah.
They stay till the bitter end when it could
I
be
never
day-
wanted to do that. Never wanted to do
All right,
that.
why?
Um,
Common sense would
yeah,
say
and
the
even
injuries.
Yeah, and even my last fight going into it, if I had have won, I'd have retired as well.
Really?
Yeah, because the big fight, it would have made me a 3-weight world champion. And what a way to go out. You know what I mean? Nice win to go out on. But I missed being. I was away from my family and my kids a lot, so I missed that. I never really enjoyed training, if I'm being honest. So it was my job, so I trained because I had to, and I always trained hard. But I never woke up in the morning saying, right, looking forward to a session. That was just never me. And at heart, I'm pretty lazy, if I'm being honest. I don't mind sitting on my arse and watching TV. You know what I mean?
Right, you've just explained to me you could have left the sport as a 3-weight world champion. All right. Is there a fine line between laziness and discipline that I'm missing out on?
No, I mean, I like to be lazy, but I trained because I had to train. And I knew
So
that...
that's that discipline.
Yeah, just discipline. And I knew if I wasn't training, I wasn't going to win fights. In my head, I used to kind of trick myself into believing that... And I know the other guy, whoever I'm fighting, is always going to be training hard, but in my head, going into every fight, I'm looking at them at the weigh-in and looking at them as we're touching gloves in the ring, thinking, if this gets hard, I'm fucking fitter than you, and I'm harder than you, and I'm going to win. Now, didn't work for me in the Josh Warrington fight, but that's what helped me get through a lot of tough moments in my career, I think.
You know, it's interesting because I've spoke to a few fighters now, and none of them have ever explained that process, that mentally, it's almost like self-affirmations,
Yeah.
they call it now, don't they?
Yeah.
Where you have to tell yourself in your head, I'm better than you anyway,
Yeah.
to make sure that you have that mental upper hand against your opponent.
Yeah, and it was more so than better. It was harder. You know what I mean? I used to, and maybe because I'm short, I'm a short guy, and everyone's taller. Maybe I have a bit of a chip on my shoulder and always needing to prove myself or whatever. But I used to go in with that mentality. If this turns into a dog fight, then I'm coming out on top because I'm harder than you. And it worked for the majority, apart from the Warrington fight.
When you look at the fighting now, when you look at the fighters that we've got now, because it's a completely different world, social media's taken off, as you know.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily about the skills of the fighters, but it's about getting those knockouts, those highlight reels. When you compare the differences between your time and this time now, what do you think of boxing?
Well, it's different. I mean, even when I started out, it wasn't as big in terms of social media, even and this brand that boxers like to talk about now, and even that term, I don't like it. I get it though, I get it, but
I like the old school. I want to hear the old school
yeah,
opinion. I need that.
I like to see a good fighter getting the head down and knuckling down, and maybe not putting his face in front of every camera that comes past him, or showing off on Instagram or whatever. But it's the way of the world, and it helps sell tickets and it helps promote fighters. So I can understand it too, but I'm not really a fan of it, if I'm being honest. I'm a bit old-fashioned, to be honest. Yeah, so that's...
It takes all sorts,
Yeah.
and like I said, we need your expert opinion on what happens in the fights. I like your commentary, by the way,
Thank you.
and I think I've actually tweeted, thank God you're there.
Thank you.
Because sometimes, and I will be very blatantly honest, I always think as a commentator, if that was on radio, can I see exactly what's going on in the ring?
Oh, yeah.
And can that person tell me how they think that fighter should be performing to get the better of their opponent,
Yeah.
whoever's down? Sorry, I've listened to commentary and I don't know what I'm listening to.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm watching. So it's good to have that ex-fighter's
No, I
opinion that can
appreciate it.
say what's actually
I
happening.
appreciate
Or
it.
we need it.
Yeah, I like it. See, to be honest, I much prefer doing the punditry, and that's what
Do
I'm
you?
a pundit really. And but they get me down at ringside and get me in the talk in between rounds. But I let the boys do their stuff. I feel like when there's too many voices, it's too much as well. So if someone asks me an opinion on the fight, even during rounds or whatever, then I'll always give it. But I much prefer the punditry gig that I've got, if I'm being honest. It's a lot easier.
You did say you were a bit lazy. I'll take that.
Less
I'll take
research
that.
and everything, yeah, it is. Yeah.
I'll take that. When you look at a fighter then, so what type of... We've mentioned about like the Instagram boxers, you know, that the brand, etc., etc. What type of fighter, you said about fighters getting the head down. When you think about fighters that do get their head down, are you a fan of the knockout artist? Are you a fan of the art of the sport? What is Carl Frampton's view on...
But everything, I'm like anyone else. I love to see, great knockouts. I love to see guys that have to dig in and come from behind and pull off wins that they shouldn't have won. I love to see underdogs winning. I love to see boxing master classes as well. I'm a boxing fan, so I enjoy watching boxing. And if we get a mixture on a fight night where you get a few wars, a few master classes, a few big knockouts, and that's always the best night, I think.
Who would you say are your favourite fighters that you've done the commentary or the punditry for so far? Because you said you like watching the fights.
Yeah.
Which fighters have caught your eye and you're like, Because you remember you've done TNT as
Yeah.
well. Obviously, you come
Yeah.
over to DAZN, so you've had the plethora. You've had a bit of a rich pickings of
Yeah.
fighters to choose from.
Yeah.
Who do you like watching?
I mean, I loved being able to see Usyk in the flesh and work on his fights. Incredible fighter, and just some of the little intricate things that he does with his feet and even his hands and stuff. Unbelievable. I mean, there's been so many great fights. I've been privileged to watch from ringside. I'm just trying to think of fighters coming through. There's a kid, what do you call him? I forgot his name. Shooter. What's Shooter's name? He's training with H down in Brighton. Asian lad. He's only had about 3 or 4 fights.
Okay. I'm trying to think.
Like super bantamweight, featherweight. Unreal fighter. Love Big Moses. Moses, no doubt, is going to be a world champion at a point. So, it'll be great to follow him from the start to getting to the top. Always was a big fan of Dennis McCann as well. Loved watching him fight. And obviously, there's been a few issues with stuff going on outside the ring.
He's a character, though, isn't he?
Yeah, Dennis good. I like Dennis. He's a good lad. Tell you another fighter who maybe doesn't get any credit, but I love watching him. And maybe it's because he's in the similar weight class to me. Nathaniel Collins. Really like watching him. I think he's a quality fighter too.
And the thing is, like I said, looking at it from like your point of view, I will always say you'll have the better point of view rather than me that does like the interviews, the fans, because you've been in there. You've been in there. When you see that fighter maybe starting to lose and you can see him walking back into the corner, you will know what he's thinking. You will potentially know what his coach is going to tell him. So it's important that us we have that like
Yeah.
third eye from
No,
somebody like yourself.
I feel like I can always, and axe fighters, not just me, but axe fighters,
Yeah.
more so than a lead commentator, can always see
The
just when someone's
intricacies,
hurt, like a
yeah.
little bit. So if someone's been hit to the body and they don't go down or anything, and it's not a big, a massive movement where they're trying to disguise it, I feel like axe fighters can tell, oh, I think he's got him there. You know what I mean?
I've
Just
heard
small
that,
stuff
I've seen
like
it,
that.
and I
yeah.
think, oh yeah, because I didn't clock it
yeah,
myself.
yeah. But I think, I mean, Adam Smith's not an axe fighter. I think he's one of the best commentators in the game. I think his voice is made for boxing. Very good. But it's always, you always have to have axe fighters involved too.
I
think.
definitely agree with that. Where do you think boxing is going? Because we've seen a massive evolution, I'd say, in the last couple of years. Obviously, with Riyadh season getting involved, basically having finger in every pie
Yeah.
that's involved in boxing. When you think about the evolution of the sport and where you're going to end up, or
Yeah.
where we're going to end up as a sport, where do you see us going? Oh, look, it's the lovely Molly.
Actually,
Oh, meatball, hi.
How you doing,
let me
sweetheart?
just give you all some.
How you doing?
I'm just going to go for Nando's.
Go on.
Oh, you enjoy your food, love. Yeah.
Oh, I don't even remember the question now. What was that?
See, she's lost me now. The evolution of boxing, where
Oh,
do you
yeah.
see it going? Because there's so much involvement. Listen, I don't mind that we've got boxing on DAZN, or we've got
Yeah.
it on BBC, or we've got it
I
on
just
Netflix.
want to watch boxing, yeah. And I think it's in a good place. I know there's obviously a lot of stuff going on with Zuffa and
What do
Dana
you think
White.
of that? What do you think
I
of
don't
that?
really know. I think it's
Too early, isn't it?
Yeah, we just don't know yet. No doubt they can do a great job, but there's been a lot of people that's tried to come in the boxing, high-profile people, and it hasn't worked. I remember Jay-Z tried to come in at a point, and it was a lot of it was the story I heard was they didn't like Al Heyman, and they were trying to outdo him, but that didn't work. Or 50 Cent was in for a while, managing fighters and trying to do promotions.
Yeah, he was linked into Money
linked with
May, was it?
Mayweather
Yeah,
as well, yeah. Didn't really work either. So it doesn't, just because of Dana White has done what he's done, doesn't necessarily mean in the UFC. It doesn't mean it's going to work in boxing. It may do. But I think competition's good for everybody, and as long as they're all competing with each other and trying to outdo each other in terms of the qualities of their shows, then it's a lot better for the paying public.
You as a businessman and as a fighter, we see a lot of fighters coming into the game. They expect it to be something that it's not. There's potentially contracts like, say, for example, somebody gives you a signing on fee. That kind of like blurs out the small print in the contract as
Yeah.
a fighter. You can end up maybe signing into something that maybe you shouldn't. What advice would you give to fighters? And this is not necessarily their coach, their managers, because they will have their own interests as well. But to young fighters coming in, what would you say to them to look out for the small print?
Well, I would always say have independent advice, and don't, like, boxers are very trusting, I think.
Independent.
Yeah.
Elaborate on that.
Yeah, so not go to the same lawyer or the same accountant that your manager tells you to go to. Go do it your own way. Always have sports lawyers, not just random lawyers, but sports lawyers look at contracts and make sure they're super tight for the fighter. But independent advice, and that was a mistake that I made, where I kind of just done everything that I was told by the manager and had the same accountants and
Ooh.
stuff like this.
And it bit you on the
And yeah, it did. So
lessons learned.
yeah, loads of lessons learned. I mean, I've come out of that. I was very bitter for a while, but I've come out of that whole saga and scenario much better for it, I think, and a little bit more wise.
Now, this is me. I'm getting old in life. How do you mature enough to stop like those bitter feelings of people that have betrayed you and hurt you in business? Because in business, it's money, it's livelihood,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's you can't say that it's not personal.
I just think everything gets a little bit easier with time, and you kind of calm down as time goes on. That's it. And as you get older, you should get a little bit more mature. I think you should learn from all the shit that's happened in your life as well. And I feel like I have learned from it, and hoping that I don't make the same mistakes again.
Right, I'm going to let you go because this was kind of like our introduction. I hope you weren't bored shitless.
No, I enjoyed that. Very different.
Are we going to do it again? So next time when I see you, you've got 15 people waiting,
Yeah.
and I'm number 14.
Yeah.
Will I get some more airtime with
We'll
you?
do a
think?
deal now. Yes, you will. There you
I
are.
love that. Gentleman's handshake
right.
with a gentle lady. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only two-weight world champion, Carl Frampton.
Thank you.
No, thank you.